These are all the ways I can think of to avoid probate. Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Small. I'm the owner of CMS Law Firm. We do estate planning, we do probate, we do it well, and you know what we're here to talk about. Before I get to that though, I want to remind you, if you have questions about this or anything else related to estate planning or probate, and you want to talk with us over the phone for free, you can do so by going to cmslawfirm.com. Okay, I figured I would just do this off the top of my head. We talk about this so much, but here are all the ways that I can think of to avoid probate. Before we get to that, probate at a super high level is really just a process of transferring your assets to someone else. If you have a will, you're gonna have to go through probate. If you don't have a will, you're gonna have to go through probate, okay, for the most part. All the will does is tell the world where you want everything to go. The process of actually making that transfer is done via probate. So if you say in your will, you know, I want Fred to get my house, that's great. Fred will get the house, but the process of transferring it from your name into Fred's name, probate, okay? In Washington State, probate is not that terrible. It does take time, it does take some money, but it's not as expensive or as onerous as like California. What sucks about California is the attorney's fee is usually a percentage of the estate. So, you know, I think it's like 3%. So if you have $1 million estate, I think that's $30,000 that the attorneys get. So that's not that expensive here. We don't have set fees like that. You sort of just pay for the value that you're getting. And the process is easier, so it's cheaper, quite frankly. But that is probate. We do want to avoid it if we can. For all of our clients, we pretty much require you to avoid probate in one of these many different ways. And there are many different options and ways to do this. There's only one asset that requires a very specific thing, and I'll talk to you about that in the middle of this process, okay? So number one, let's talk about bank accounts, financial accounts, okay? The way that you are going to avoid probate with any financial account is going to be with a beneficiary designation, okay? We're talking about retirement accounts, talking about investment accounts, life insurance. For checking and savings accounts, they're beneficiary designations, but they're called pay on death designations. But they're basically the same thing, okay? Whether you have a trust or not, you are going to typically use these beneficiary designations to move the money where it's supposed to go. If you want the money to go to Aunt Rita, then you use a beneficiary designation. If you want it to go to your trust, then you use a beneficiary designation. What happens is when you die, the money goes exactly where you have designated it to go, a beneficiary designation, okay? That's number one. Number two kind of asset is going to be real estate. With real estate, there are sort of two avenues that you can go down. Avenue number one is going to be something called a transfer on death deed, okay? Transfer on death deed. It's essentially a beneficiary designation for your house, okay? Super fun. It makes it super simple. When you die, the person that is receiving the property records the death certificate and it automatically transfers to them. Okay, pretty cool deal. If you have multiple people that you want this house to go to, or sometimes if you're doing charitable giving and you want to liquidate the house, then you typically will use a trust. Okay, a trust is its own probate avoidance tool in and of itself. The trust avoids probate because you put assets into the trust sort of owns those assets. And then when you are gone, there's no need to transfer the assets anywhere. The trust continues to own them, and then they will move those or distribute those assets wherever you direct inside of the trust. But the trust has authority over the assets while you're alive. They have authority over the assets while you're dead, when you're dead, and then everything just goes where you direct inside of the trust, okay? So those are kind of the two ways to do it with real estate. If you own businesses, LLCs, partnerships, S Corp, C Corp interest, things like that, you're pretty much going to have to use a trust if you want to avoid probate. There are very few of those business entities that allow for beneficiary designations. I think maybe you could do it inside of the operating agreement, but the only sort of surefire way that I know is to put them in a trust. Put them in the trust. Again, the trust holds the shares. You're the manager, you're the owner, you run the thing. Then when you're gone, the trust continues to hold those shares and can then take whatever action is necessary related to the business to make sure things go the way that you want. All right. Those are sort of all the different ways that you can avoid probate. Depending on your state, you may or may not have a transfer on death deed. but the other stuff pretty much applies across the board, I think. Talk to an attorney in your state if you're somewhere else. But that's it. So all the different ways to avoid probate. Remember, as a reminder, if you have questions about this or anything else related to probate and you want to talk with us over the phone for free, you can do so by going to cmslawfirm.com. That's it for today. Again, I'm Christopher Small. I'm the owner of CMS Law Firm. We do estate planning, we do probate, we do it well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Appreciate you, and I will talk to you again soon. See ya.